Having people you love die in a care home can be heartbreaking. Let's talk about how to cope with death in an RAL home. In the United States right now, there are 76 million baby boomers. The number one dilemma for these baby boomers? Housing. That dilemma can be your opportunity. Welcome to the Assisted Living Network podcast, where you can discover how just one residential assisted living home could secure your financial future forever. Hey, it's Isabel from the Assisted Living Network. Let's be honest. It can be difficult watching someone you love pass on, especially when it keeps happening over and over again. But in the care home industry, this is exactly what happens every week, month, and year. And this is a hard truth of owning and operating a care home. Everyone who moves into the home will leave one way or another. And typically it's not to go to a nursing home like you may think. Many of your residents, sometimes up to 90% of them, will pass in the home. This is normal. It's the cycle of life, and it's something that when you're new to the industry, it can be hard to really fully comprehend. As the owner-operator, you may choose to be hands-on or hands-off in your business. And the more hands-off you are, the less you may have a connection with the seniors in the home. But the more hands-on you are, the more difficult this will be for you. When we first got started in this industry, I didn't think often about this. I was excited to start in an incredible industry and help seniors and caregivers and family, and the death part wasn't at the forefront of my mind. But as the first senior in the home passed, I realized this is going to be very different than I imagined, and not everyone's cut out for it. It can not only be hard on you as the owner, but it can be extremely hard on the other seniors who live in the home. Let's be real. Most of the time they're moving into the home because their own loved one has passed on, and now they can't live alone. Their own health has declined. Maybe their siblings have already passed on. Their own parents are probably gone. Their partners may have now passed on, and now their friends are passing too. It's devastating. And at some point, it can really break your heart. I remember this one time I was visiting my grandparents, and my Pepe said to me, we're sitting at the dinner table, and he said, "Everyone I know is dead. What's there left to live for?" And I was like, "Me, Pepe, live for me." But there's really such a difference when you can no longer move and groove the way you used to. We used to visit him at his home and go to Disney, and we would play tennis and do all these fun things. And now he was in a wheelchair and he couldn't do those same things. All that was left to do was play cards and puzzles. And he enjoyed spending time with us, but it wasn't the same. Our lives were moving on, and his life was never going to be able to match the variety and capacity that our lives were at. My friend Erica, who's a doctor in Scottsdale, she often sees older patients who say the same thing, that there's nothing left. When everyone in their life has already died, it can really be heartbreaking to be the only one left when everyone else is gone. Now, of course, they're being a little dramatic. Not everyone is gone. Their beloved grandkids are still here, okay? And many of their own children are still alive too, but it's not the same. They've moved on with their lives, and they all have events and changes and big things happening. And this senior is just sitting there, not participating anymore, but observing. And how long can you watch and observe everything carry on without you? It can be very mentally taxing on the seniors within the home when another senior passes on. The biggest tip I can give is to let them mourn their friends who pass on within the home. Don't hide it from them, okay? That so-and-so passed on. Be honest. They're going to realize that they're not in the house or not showing up to breakfast after a few days. And the vibe in the house, it may be solemn for a moment. And that's okay. But remember to pick it back up within a few days' time, that they need to stay positive, get sunshine, vitamin D, and remember all the good things that the friend of theirs was able to accomplish in this life. Many times, the caregivers will also be heartbroken and in need of a little break, mentally and physically. When one of the seniors passes, they've been intimately caring for this person for some time now, and they're just gone. The reality is, many times when a senior is about to pass, the ones closest to them can often tell. We hear stories about this all the time. Maybe they start talking to someone on the other side, or their skin starts to look different. Their eyes start to change. They're almost looking past you, not at you. Maybe they become less hungry, sleepier. These are all telltale signs that caregivers who have been in the business for a while, they start to recognize. And they'll usually alert the family and tell them that, hey, the time may be coming, so you need to start visiting more often if you haven't been. But when the senior loved one passes on, yes, there are requirements about who to call first and where to send the body, and all of those things will be covered in your state rules and regulations or in your own policies and procedures within the home. The protocol is one thing, the emotions are another. Again, let them mourn their elderly friend. Let them have a moment to be and just process and to honor this person's life. Don't push them too hard. If someone needs a day off or time to go to a funeral, let them. Honor this person's life and their relationships with your staff. Some protocol you may want to implement in your home is to always have either yourself or your licensed administrator go to the funeral. Also, to let the staff and the seniors within the home know the information and ask if any of them do want to go to the funeral. If they do, let that happen. Someone only passes once. Work will always be there. Someone can fill the shift. Respecting and honoring someone's life is a one-time thing. The first time someone passed and we asked the caregivers if anyone wanted to go to the funeral with us, only one of them took us up on it because they were very close to that senior. And 3 of us showed up, the administrator, me, and the caregiver, and the family was blown away that we came, that we cared, and that it meant something to us. When we left the funeral, the caregiver told me that they'd been in the business for over 13 years. And never once were they offered by their boss to go to a funeral of a senior who'd passed on. You know, that caregiver, they've been with us to this day. You should at minimum have protocols within your care home about sending notes of condolence, flowers, or something kind to the family who's grieving their elderly loved one. Some other things to note or protocols to consider within your home is, how do you remember them within the home? Sometimes homes will have a wall with the photos of passed on seniors who've lived in the home, or they have a mural where they add birds or butterflies to represent those who've left us. Whatever the case is, you can do something kind to honor them within your home. Something else to consider, if it's difficult for the seniors and the caregivers to process the passing, you could do a mini celebration of life within the home. You can sing their favorite song, share memories, or watch their favorite movie. This can help boost the energy within the home and give them a beautiful send-off to the next life. The reality is, it will happen. It's inevitable. The first few are going to be hard, but with some protocol and procedures and a little bit of compassion, you'll be okay. Don't forget to like and share this episode and follow us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Thanks for listening to the Assisted Living Network.